He collapsed slowly, like the weight of a world crashing down with every breath. The sterile boardroom, all glass and cold marble, reflected the city lights outside, distant, unreachable. His voice broke, trembling as he whispered, "They called me just a kid who liked paper planes, a boy with childish dreams. But I built something they never imagined, something they took from me." The room stood silent. Faces behind suits were masks of indifference and triumph. The faint buzz of a muted TV in the corner flickered a news anchor's voice, hushed and heavy. He was never supposed to own that company. His hands trembled, clutching a worn paper plane, edges frayed like the remnants of his hope. The past and future collided, the dreams of a child and the ruthless world of business, now at war inside him. Every glance was a blade, every silence a sentence. This was the moment where everything shattered or began anew, and though broken, his eyes still searched for a spark of truth that might still set him free. Before this moment, he was just a boy who loved folding paper planes in the dusty corners of a small city park, where dreams were fragile but limitless. His fingers folded each plane with care, imagining they would one day soar beyond the skies he could only watch. The world around him was a blur of noise and neglect, but the planes gave him control, hope, a secret power to escape. His mother's tired eyes and his father's distant silence were shadows that lingered, but never crushed that fragile light inside. From these simple beginnings, a relentless curiosity grew, sparked by a single question: what if those planes could do more than fly? What if they could carry messages, deliver hope, or change lives? Every night, he sketched designs, tinkered with parts, and dreamed bigger. But the world wasn't kind to dreamers. It demanded proof, success, and sacrifice. And so, his journey from paper planes to drones was both an escape and a battle against everything that told him he wasn't enough. He was never the loudest voice in the room, never the one to boast or demand attention. Instead, he listened, watched, and learned. Every failure was a lesson disguised in pain, every sneer from the world, a challenge to prove them wrong. His notebooks filled with intricate sketches, his tiny workshop crowded with bits and parts scavenged from discarded toys and old electronics. The boy who loved paper planes became the boy who built machines, who dreamed of controlling the skies with something stronger, smarter, drones. But, as his ideas grew, so did the obstacles. Doubts whispered by those who saw only a dreamer, not a doer. Doors closed, deals fell through, and friends turned away. Yet he pressed on, fueled by a stubborn refusal to be forgotten, to be dismissed as just a boy with a silly hobby. Each setback sharpened his resolve. Each sleepless night was a battle won in silence. Success, when it finally came, was not a quiet moment but a storm. A breakthrough drone design flew higher and longer than any before. Investors noticed, but their smiles were sharp, their intentions veiled. Suddenly, the boy who built paper planes was faced with a world of contracts, legal battles, and ruthless competitors eager to clip his wings before they could take flight. Trust was a rare currency, exchanged with caution, and often broken. He learned quickly that innovation was not enough. He needed armor, strategy, allies, and above all, the ability to see the hidden dangers in every handshake. The boy's simple dreams evolved into a high-stakes game where every move could mean triumph or ruin. Behind closed doors, deals were made that would alter the course of his life, alliances formed with shadows lurking in every corner. Yet, even surrounded by power and wealth, he remained haunted by the past and the fragile paper planes that once carried his hopes. The scars of betrayal ran deep, close allies who turned their backs, voices that whispered lies, and a secret truth that threatened to unravel everything. He carried a small token from those days, folded and worn, a reminder of where he began, and the child he still was beneath the weight of the empire. Every victory was bittersweet, every moment of peace shadowed by the question, could he ever truly trust again? In the silence of his office, far from the city's roar, he stared at the paper plane one last time. His journey had only just begun, but the war for his soul was already raging. The world outside moved fast, unforgiving and ruthless. Every deal came with a price, every handshake a gamble. He learned that in the cutthroat world of drones and technology, loyalty was scarce and trust even scarcer. Nights bled into days, and the boy who once folded paper planes was now entangled in legal battles and boardroom power plays. His dreams were no longer just his, they belonged to shareholders, investors, and rivals waiting for him to falter. But beneath the layers of corporate armor, he felt the weight of loneliness. Success isolated him in a tower of glass and steel. He questioned if the man he was becoming was the boy he once dreamed to be. Each drone prototype, every blueprint, was a silent rebellion against the forces trying to contain him. Yet the more he fought, the more the lines between ally and enemy blurred, leaving him wary and watchful, desperate to hold on to the fragile spark of hope that started it all. He remembered the first time his drone took flight, tentative, trembling like a newborn bird. The air hummed with possibility as it soared beyond his small workshop. That moment was magic, a quiet victory over doubt. But as drones grew smarter, more powerful, the stakes did too. Governments, corporations, even militaries showed interest. The boy who once played with paper planes now stood at the center of a global game with shifting rules. His inventions could save lives or destroy them. He struggled to keep control, battling pressure to weaponize his dreams. The line between innovation and exploitation became razor thin. Yet, in the silence of his workshop, the drone's steady hum reminded him of innocence lost and a future still waiting to be shaped by hands unwilling to give up. In the maze of negotiations and betrayals, he found rare moments of clarity in unexpected friendships. Confidant who saw beyond the empire and the headlines, who remembered the boy folding paper planes in the park. Together they shared whispered dreams and secret plans, plotting a course back to the heart of what mattered. But shadows lurked, and trust was a currency too precious to spend freely. Every alliance was tested by ambition and fear. Still, the boy's stubborn hope clung tightly to these fragile bonds. In the silence between meetings, between battles, he found strength to keep building, dreaming, fighting. Because no matter how vast the world grew, or how deep the betrayals, the sky was still his to conquer. The media painted him as a genius, a visionary, but also a threat. Headlines alternated between praise and suspicion, fueling both admiration and paranoia. Every press conference was a battleground where words cut sharper than knives. He learned to wear a mask of confidence even when uncertainty gnawed inside. Each question was a test, each spotlight a glare revealing every flaw and fear. Yet, through it all, he held on to a single truth. Innovation was not just technology, but courage. Courage to keep flying when the winds of doubt howled loudest. Because in every paper plane folded in quiet moments, there was a promise that dreams could not be grounded forever. But even the strongest wings can be clipped. A sudden betrayal shattered the fragile trust he had built. Deals were overturned, patents stolen, and his company's future thrown into jeopardy. The boy who loved paper planes now faced the darkest storm of his life. Alone once more, he retreated into the quiet, clutching the symbol of his past. Yet, as the world tried to bury him, he realized that true flight came from resilience. Every failure was a chance to fold a new plane. Every loss a lesson in the art of soaring again. The fight was far from over. It had only just begun, fueled by the relentless heart of a boy who refused to let his dreams crash to the ground. The aftermath was a crucible. He rose from the ashes of betrayal, stronger, wiser. With renewed purpose, he rebuilt not just his company, but his vision of a future shaped by innovation and heart. Every setback was fuel for relentless innovation. He pushed boundaries, crafted drones that could heal, connect, protect. The boy who loved paper planes had grown into a leader determined to change the world, not for power, but for promise. But the road ahead was perilous, paved with challenges that would test the limits of his courage and resolve. In the silence of his new workshop, surrounded by buzzing drones and blueprints, He whispered a vow. This time he would fly higher and never fall alone again. He forged new alliances, built a team bound by trust and shared vision. Together they challenged the giants, rewriting the rules of the game. The innovations that once seemed impossible now took flight, reshaping industries and lives. Yet, the scars of the past lingered beneath the surface, a reminder of the cost of ambition. He learned that true leadership was not just invention, but empathy, and that the sky was not a limit, but a beginning. As drones lifted off from the launch pad, so did his dreams. Stronger, sharper, fueled by the unbreakable spirit of the boy who once folded paper planes. But victory demanded sacrifice. The pressures mounted, personal relationships frayed, and the weight of expectation threatened to crush the fragile balance he fought to maintain. He found solace in moments of quiet reflection, where the paper plane, now a symbol, not just a toy, reminded him of his journey. The fight was no longer against others, but against fear, doubt, and the relentless demands of success. The boy who loved paper planes had become a man who understood that true flight required letting go of the past, even as he carried it in his heart. Then came the moment of reckoning, a public demonstration that would decide everything. The world watched as his drones performed feats once deemed impossible, bridging gaps between technology and humanity. Triumph and tension intertwined as he stood before the crowd, a man transformed by trials and triumphs. The journey from paper planes to drones had led here, to a fragile moment where dreams and reality collided. As applause erupted, he realized that the flight was never just about machines, but the relentless human spirit that dared to soar. In the quiet that followed, away from the spotlight and noise, he unfolded one last paper plane. Its edges worn, creased by years of dreaming and struggle. Holding it close, he smiled, not because he had won the world, but because he had stayed true to the boy who dared to fly. His journey was far from over, but the sky, vast and open, was waiting. And this time he would soar not alone, but with those who believed in the power of dreams made real. The boy, now a man forged by trials, stood on the edge of a new frontier. Emerging technologies promised to reshape society, but ethical dilemmas shadowed every invention. He wrestled with the question, should innovation be boundless or tempered by conscience? As governments clamored for control and corporations pushed profit, his vision clung to hope that technology could empower without enslaving. The lines between creator and creation blurred, and he found himself facing not just technical challenges, but moral battles that tested the very core of his purpose. The paper planes of childhood symbolized freedom, yet now he must ensure that freedom was not sacrificed at the altar of progress. Partnerships grew, crossing borders and cultures, but so did the risks. The boy who loved paper planes now navigated geopolitical storms as his technology became a tool in global power struggles. Diplomacy replaced invention in many meetings, and he often found himself caught between ambition and accountability. His heart ached for simpler times, when a folded paper plane was just a symbol of joy, not leverage. Yet he knew the stakes were higher now. Each decision rippled across millions of lives. He had to be both visionary and guardian, understanding that the future depended not just on flight, but on trust and integrity. Beneath the weight of responsibility, cracks appeared in his personal life. Long nights and endless travel strained bonds once unbreakable. Memories of childhood friends and family gatherings faded like distant echoes. But the paper planes in his old notebook, kept carefully on a shelf, served as a tether to the boy he still was inside. He promised himself to reclaim balance before the man he became was lost entirely. The path forward demanded sacrifices, but he vowed those sacrifices would be meaningful, not empty. His journey was no longer just about flying. It was about landing safely, wherever he called home. Innovations surged ahead as breakthroughs in drone technology unlocked new possibilities in medicine, environmental monitoring, and disaster relief. The boy who folded paper planes saw his dream realized in machines that could save lives, restore habitats, and connect the disconnected. Yet, with each new success came new scrutiny, skepticism, and fear. The public questioned the price of progress, while he grappled with the fine line between hero and villain. Every flight was a testament to hope, but also a reminder of the fragile balance between ambition and humility. The journey was far from over, but his resolve had never been stronger. As the sun set on another year of breakthroughs and battles, he found himself on a quiet rooftop, watching the city pulse beneath him. The paper plane in his hand was no longer just a toy, it was a legacy, a symbol of all he had lost and gained. The journey from boyhood dreams to global impact had been paved with uncertainty and courage. But in the twilight glow, he felt a profound peace. The sky was vast, full of possibilities, and he was ready to continue flying, guided by the past, grounded in the present, and hopeful for the future. The final chapter was not a destination, but a new beginning. The man who once dreamed with paper planes now envisioned a world where technology and humanity soared together. His drones bridged continents, delivered hope, and inspired the next generation. The legacy was not in wealth or fame, but in the courage to dream boldly and the wisdom to fly responsibly. He looked back at the countless folded planes in his old notebook and smiled, knowing the boy inside had never truly left. His story was a testament that even the smallest paper plane could carry the weight of the world's greatest dreams. Innovation had become a movement, a community united by shared dreams and grounded ethics. The boy who loved paper planes had sparked a revolution of hope and responsibility. Conferences, classrooms, and workshops buzzed with ideas born from his vision. He mentored young inventors, reminding them that every great flight begins with a single fold. The future was theirs to craft, a tapestry of imagination and care woven across borders. His legacy was a living story, an unbroken chain from past to future, carried on wings of paper and promise. Challenges would always arise, new threats, ethical puzzles, unforeseen consequences, but he faced them with a steady heart and clear mind. The boy's curiosity and resilience were now tempered by wisdom and experience. He taught that every flight, every invention, carried responsibility beyond the inventor. The world's sky was open, vast, and waiting for those brave enough to soar. His story was no longer just his own, but a beacon lighting the way for generations to come. In quiet moments, he still folded paper planes, not as a reminder of what was lost, but as a celebration of what was possible. Each crease was a story, each flight a dream in motion. The journey from boyhood wonder to global innovator was a testament to the power of imagination and perseverance. The sky was no longer a limit, but a canvas, vast and inviting. And as the planes soared upward, so did the promise that no dream was ever too small to change the world. And so the boy who loved paper planes lived on, not just in stories or memories, but in every flight, every innovation, every dream carried skyward. His legacy was a bridge between imagination and reality, a reminder that with courage and heart, even the simplest act could change the course of history. The sky awaited, infinite and bright, and the boy, now a man, was ready to keep flying, always forward, forever free. The man now faced an unforeseen challenge, a new wave of skepticism and fear fueled by misinformation. People questioned the safety of drones, fearing loss of privacy and control. His mission shifted once more from invention to advocacy. He traveled cities, speaking openly about transparency, regulation, and the shared future of humanity and technology. His words, measured and earnest, sought to build bridges of trust. Despite setbacks, his vision remained unshaken. The boy's paper planes had always been simple, innocent flights of hope, and now he must ensure those hopes were not grounded by doubt and fear. Behind closed doors, new partnerships blossomed, alliances between engineers, policymakers, and activists. The man convened late-night strategy sessions, navigating the delicate balance of innovation and ethics. He often revisited his childhood notebooks, where folded planes carried whispered dreams of flight and freedom. Now those dreams were blueprints for change. The work was exhausting but vital, as every breakthrough needed safeguards, every flight required permission, and every future depended on collective care. His journey was a testament to perseverance and the courage to confront uncertainty with hope. The boy's simple joy of watching paper planes soar had matured into a profound responsibility. Now, when drones lifted off, they carried not just payloads but promises of safety, connection, and renewal. Every flight was monitored, every data point analyzed with precision. He taught his team that behind every technical specification was a human story. The future was a delicate flight path requiring balance between speed and caution. In this era of rapid change, patience was a radical act, and he embraced it fully, knowing that true progress never sacrificed humanity. In quieter moments, he found solace revisiting the old fields where he first learned to fold paper planes. The breeze whispered memories of childhood laughter and unspoken dreams. Here, away from the hum of innovation, he reconnected with the boy within, the spark that ignited a lifetime of flight. He knew the road ahead would always hold new challenges, but grounded in these roots he was ready. Each plane folded now carried decades of wisdom, courage, and hope, ready to soar into a future shaped by heart and mind alike. As twilight deepened, he stood once again beneath the vast sky, watching a fleet of drones dance in coordinated harmony. The boy's dreams had become a living symphony of innovation and hope. Each flight told a story, not just of technology but of humanity's unyielding desire to rise, explore, and connect. His journey had come full circle, from paper planes folded in a small room to a billion-dollar vision carried on wings of trust. The sky was infinite, and so were the possibilities waiting to be discovered. The final act opened with reflection on all the flights taken, the heights reached, and the lessons learned. The boy's journey was more than a story of technology. It was a testament to dreams nurtured with patience and courage. He spoke to young audiences about the power of persistence, reminding them that every great invention starts with a simple idea. His words, gentle but resolute, inspired new generations to fold their own planes, dream their own dreams, and take flight with integrity and purpose. He revisited places where his journey began, the schoolyard, the local park, the neighborhood street, each holding echoes of laughter and dreams. With each step, he felt the boy's spirit guiding him, reminding him that even the most complex innovations were born from simple moments of joy. Communities welcomed him with open arms, sharing stories of how his work had touched lives. Gratitude and humility grounded him, fueling a resolve to keep building bridges between imagination and reality. Innovation continued to pulse through his veins, but his vision expanded beyond machines. He sought to cultivate empathy and stewardship, knowing that the future depended on human connection as much as technology. Collaborations blossomed across disciplines and cultures, weaving a tapestry of hope that stretched across continents. He often mused that the greatest invention was not a drone or a device, but the community it inspired, a global family united by shared dreams and responsibility. Amidst rapid change, he held on to rituals, the quiet folds of paper, the calm of open skies, the trust in slow, steady progress. These moments renewed his spirit and sharpened his purpose. The boy who loved paper planes was a compass, pointing him toward balance in a world that often demanded speed over care. His legacy was not just in technology, but in the values he lived and taught: patience, kindness, and the courage to dream big while flying low enough to stay grounded. And so the story continues, a never-ending flight across skies vast and inviting. The boy's paper planes became symbols of hope, courage, and the limitless possibilities within each heart. The man, forever shaped by dreams and determination, soared on, knowing the journey was eternal and the sky was theirs to explore. Each fold, each flight, a promise to keep dreaming, keep building, keep flying free.